Last month, Harrison County hosted the U.S. Scale Master Championships. Greg Parker took a crew from the weekly special down to see what it was all about and discovered the hobby and the event is so much more than just radio-controlled planes.
This contest is the brainchild of a gentleman from California named Harris Lee. He came up with this concept 31 years ago. He wanted to have a contest where you would select the best of the best.
On September 16th through 19th, 70 of the nation's greatest radio-controlled aircraft flyers gathered in Rosewood, Indiana to participate in the United States Scale Masters Championships. This contest, that contains 4 classes of competition, not only determines who is the best, but it also unites people from all over the world with a common passion.
We cover the life of aviation. You see World War I biplanes here, you'll see World War II fighters, you saw an F-100 jet with a real turbine engine in it. So they're pretty large airplanes representing the airplane that they're modeling down to the rivets on the wings.
The model aircrafts are not only crafted to exacting standards of their actual counterpart, but they also come equipped with a miniature pilot, which, believe it or not, is not there for decoration.
Each one has a pilot, and if you notice, that's required in the contest. If you can see the pilot in the real airplane, you want to be able to see the pilot in this airplane.
Before the radio-controlled aircraft pilots are able to show their stuff at the Scale Masters Championships, they must earn their way through a series of qualifying events.
This is a contest that you have to compete in a regional qualifier in order to get invited to come to this contest. And you have to finish in the top 30% in those events in order to be qualified to be invited here. So you get the best of each of the individual qualifiers, and then those bests come here and we determine the best of the best.
Determining who is the best requires a lot of concentration for both the pilot and the judge. In fact, before the competition even begins, each judge must pass a 50-question test to be certified to judge the competition. Although it is open book, it's not as easy as one might think.
There were trick questions, many questions. You have to go to several places in the documentation to find the answer. So it takes some time on each judge's part to read the documentation, take the test, and submit that.
Once the judge is ready to take off, he will arrive to the judge's podium and allow only 15 minutes for the contestant to present his aircraft, fly it, and land it.
They have mandatory maneuvers. Takeoff and landing is always mandatory. They do a fly past, which is 10 to 20 feet off the deck. They do a figure 8. Then they have optional maneuvers, which would demonstrate the airplane and how the full-scale airplane would fly.
What the Air Force called the first of the Century Series fighters, the F-100. It came out about 1953 and flew into the Vietnam War. This airplane, the full-size one, happens to reside in the Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio.
It took retired Air Force pilot Robert Bush 8 months to construct his fighter jet F-100, so of course he was somewhat anxious when presenting his aircraft to the judges. And even when your nerves are in check, Bush says operating the 12-channel controller can be difficult.
This way is elevator control, or up and down. This way is aileron control, or roll. Over here you have throttle and rudder. And the airplane also has wheel brakes, which are over here on the side. And it has flaps on this switch right here.
Once the most prestigious RC Flyer competition concludes, the nation's greatest radio-controlled flyers don't necessarily retire their aircrafts and walk away as qualified champions. Instead, when the championship is over, it's time for them to get back to work.
These pilots have put hundreds and thousands of hours into these planes, and a scale plane is never finished. They go back from one contest. After that, they pick up on where they have been downgraded, and they'll work on their airplane to improve it.